the station working for you. This is WRTV News at 5:30, streaming now.
Tonight here on WRTV News at 5:30, coping with unimaginable change at a very young age. The new program helping to put a little glamour in the lives of cancer warriors at Riley Hospital. And here's a Santa who toots his own horn, literally, and helps bring a little joy to people who just can't be with friends or family right now. Chris.
Topping our lineup, many people have taken less vacation as this pandemic continues on, and that means you may have some leftover time off. How the experts say you should handle that situation at work. Plus, people who are planning on getting married this year, they've certainly run into some unique hurdles. The new offering that could help couples still have their perfect day. And a new proposal involving tip sharing for staff at restaurants is being met with some blowback. We'll talk about some of the concerns that advocates have, especially in these trying times.
First here at 5:30, imagine for a minute what it would be like to wake up without your hair. For some tough kids at Riley Hospital for Children, that is a reality as they battle cancer. WRTV's Kelsey Anderson shows us one program that is not only helping them cope with these changes, but also is making them stronger for the fight of their lives.
Earlier this year, a new program was started here at Riley Hospital for Children called Bold, Bald, and Beautiful. And it gives those kids on the oncology floor a chance to do something drastic with their hair before they have to learn to live life without it.
You're only going to have your hair for so much longer. Why don't you do something fun with it?
Brinley Robinson is fighting leukemia.
It was hard the day that they told us. It really was, because, I've never really thought, oh, you're going to have cancer, or you're going to have some type of life disease that could possibly, end your life.
When she was sent to Riley Hospital for Children for treatment, her family knew she would lose her hair.
It kind of breaks you down because I've always loved my hair.
2 weeks ago today, Brinley got her hair cut and colored by Riley's own cosmetologist. A new program at Riley called Bold, Bald, and Beautiful. It gives Brinley a chance to do something drastic with her hair before it falls out.
Do red in the back and then get the purple up front.
Hannah Ewert works on the oncology floor once a week, doing hair, makeup, nails, and teaching kids how to take care of their skin as their body changes. She says she tries to make the experience as fun as possible.
We try to keep it as calm as it can. I just, walk them through what I'm doing, and, I be there for them, and then they always get something fun afterwards. I had a little girl that she was very emotional about it, but she was ready to get it done. And I ended up being able to give her a fun little headband, and now that's all she wears.
Brinley says she's prepared for the changes to come.
But I think once my hair does go and it's gone, I think I might embrace it. Say, hey, look, this is me now.
I received these photos from Brinley earlier this week. You can see she's now bald, but as she said earlier, she's going to embrace it. Coming up on WRTV, hear the story of the young woman who inspired and helped to create this new program here at Riley Hospital for Children. Working for you, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Wow, what an amazing program there. And what a strong and confident young lady, too. And as Kelsey mentioned, you can see the second part of her story coming up on the news at 7. Looking forward to that. Kevin.
Well, it's not until midnight that we really see these temperatures start to fall off. The wind will stay strong between now and then. Look at how strong it's been. Bloomington with a peak gust at 47 miles per hour. I think once we get past midnight, there'll be 20 to 30 mile per hour gusts instead. Right now, strongest winds are in the northern half of the state. That's likely to continue, and the western portion of the state. When that actual cold front comes through, some additional gusts to 40 are likely. Well, there's the shower activity in eastern Indiana and central Illinois. What's in Illinois will move our way this evening. Stays windy, stays mild. Showers are likely through 11 o'clock tonight, and then temperatures turn colder.
Well, some tough numbers again in the United States. Start the news feed. For the 5th time this year, more than 3,000 deaths were reported in one day in this country. Johns Hopkins said on Tuesday more than 3,200 people died from coronavirus. And though the vaccines are making their way across the world, the timeline for putting coronavirus behind us could really extend into late next year. That's what the chief scientist of the World Health Organization says, saying that herd immunity will likely not be achieved until the end of 2021. Now, rideshare companies, they do not want transportation to be a barrier for people wanting the COVID vaccine. Lyft will offer 60 million free rides to low-income people who need a way to get a vaccine. The U.S. is about to get another influx of coronavirus vaccine. Pfizer has agreed to supply another 100 million doses of their vaccine. That puts the total at 200 million. Extra doses are promised by the end of July. Now, that's separate from the Moderna vaccine deal, which also brings another 200 million doses into play by the end of June. Now, nurses are a critical group to get on board with taking and recommending COVID-19 vaccines. They're already the #1 trusted worker by Americans. That's according to a new Gallup poll. Nurses are seen to have the highest honesty and ethics values.
What I am advocating or stressing is that nurses need to know exactly how the mRNA vaccines work. So that because they're going to be needed to help persuade the public that they need to take the vaccine as well.
The head of the American Nurses Association isn't just asking nurses to be vaccine advocates. He's one himself. He took part in the Moderna vaccine trial. And Dr. Ernest Grant says he thinks that he actually got the vaccine compared to the placebo because he was fatigued after that second shot. He says that vaccines come at a time that will not only save lives, but also keep more nurses from leaving the profession due to fatigue and stress.
It's tough to go to work 12 hours or 16-hour shifts a day and have, maybe a death every other hour or so.
Nurses are also losing their lives. About 400 in the United States have died as a result of providing care for COVID patients. That is according to the ANA. All right, next on our lineup, so many people are hoping that 2021 is a fresh start. But the end of the year does bring a possible problem for people who are still working. What do you do with leftover time off? We're going to the experts to get some advice on what they say you should do.
Galleries, live life comfortably.
The number of people filing for unemployment for the first time is dropping slightly. Just over 800,000 people filed last week, which is less than what was expected. Now, for perspective, only about 287,000 filed the same time last year. The total number of people still receiving some kind of benefits is just under 21 million. Meanwhile, some people who do have jobs are leaving a lot of money on the table in 2020.
If you don't take time off, then you are basically giving the company back almost like a paycheck. Like, here you go, here's my 1 week salary.
Career website Monster found almost half of workers didn't take their full paid time off this year. The pandemic turned work-life balance into an all-at-home blended mess for many people. Many workers said that they didn't take their time because there was nothing to do, there was nowhere to go, or they were worried about their jobs. Only a small amount are able to roll over their unused time into 2021, and taking time off, especially this year, has been critical.
You can see things more clearly. You may even be happier thinking about your time off, even if that meant you just stayed on your living room couch and binged the latest show.
Some employers like Monster even added mental health or additional days off this year, recognizing the extreme stress that many were under. Now, Vicki Salemi says even if you don't have big plans for your time away from work, you do want to create some sort of framework.
It doesn't have to be rigid, but just so you feel like the end of the day or the end of the time off, you don't want to feel like it was for naught. Like, it's okay if you're like, I'm just going to rest this whole time.
Now, if you didn't get in all that paid time this year, depending on your circumstance, they say it is worth asking just to see if you could carry some over into the next year. And now is also a good time to plan for 2021. Monster says even just starting with some 3-day weekends in January and February. Ahead in our lineup, weddings have been disrupted across the country, and now companies are getting creative to make sure couples still have their special day. The unique offers that are now available.
This one's payment and 0 to a signing.
Let's check the news feed. The NHL is putting new measures in place for this season to make sure coronavirus has as little impact on play as possible. Coaches now have to wear masks behind the bench. Teams can't travel with more than 50 people. And the league is also asking players not to have guests in their homes. Dr. Deborah Birx says she's retiring. She is the coordinator of the White House Coronavirus Task Force. She says she will stay on to help the Biden administration transition into power. Now, another government figure leaving their post is Attorney General William Barr today, his last day on the job. He announced his resignation last week, and experts do say it's a bit unusual for an attorney general to leave nearly a month before the president will leave office. Supply on homes for sale is going down. It's dropped by 22% since November of last year. That's according to the National Association of Realtors. Now that makes it the lowest inventory that we've seen since at least 1982. Prices have also gone up by more than 14% since November of 2019. The pandemic has turned even more people into gamers. 1 in 3 people worldwide play video games. This is according to the Entertainment Software Association, and they also say there's more meaning than just having fun.
And we've been able to make sure that we were producing things that not only brought people together in ways that made them enjoy the games, but connected them to each other. Because today, 65% of people in America who play games play with other people.
Now, video game popularity was already on the rise before COVID, supporting more than 425,000 jobs directly and indirectly related to the industry last year. It generated more than $90 billion in economic output, according to the Entertainment Software Association's Impact Report. It includes jobs in engineering, coding, video game design, storyline. You can even be a professional player.
What that's meant is that within schools, you now have esports scholarships. And in fact, there are over 200 varsity esports programs around the nation, creating new opportunities for people to play professionally.
Education and jobs related to gaming, they can also lead to other opportunities outside of just the video game industry. The graphic design and visual elements that go into video games are in demand in other fields.
If you learn video game design, you're able to also help with airline simulations. And so it's creating opportunities across many sectors.
Advancements rooted in the video game industry have found their way into other areas, including medical imaging, robotics, military training and simulation, as well as education. Now, those directly employed by the video game industry, it's important to note that they make an average of around $121,000 a year.
Well, on this eve before Christmas Eve, families are looking for ways to gather together safely. As WRTV's Rafael Sanchez reports, some people living under tough restrictions only have a window to witness the world, which made it easy to see and hear the Music Man.
Dressing the part and walking with confidence are key to success. And how you perform is what connects with hearts and minds. With his trumpet and borrowed Santa suit, Steve Brown serenaded seniors and heroes at work.
You know, if you can make one person smile during this time with a lot of people getting down, still being shut in for so long, that, well, hopefully it did.
He traveled to a couple of long-term care facilities, like Compass Park and Otterbein, where residents for months have faced visitor restrictions due to COVID-19. Steve did this at Easter, sharing the good news, and this time, joy to the world.
Just need something like this, just a shot in the arm, cheer people up.
The scale of this pandemic has given birth to new traditions, like this one, involving a man, his music, and a message of hope for all.
Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas, everybody! Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas!
Wow, that is amazing to see. And what a great way to bring cheer and joy to many people down in Johnson County. That is great to see that he goes out of his way to do that, Kevin.
I've got the tunes in my ear right now. Santa comes through again. Temperatures, they're holding steady. With the air saturated like this, temperature won't change much until we probably get past midnight. 48 in Kokomo, temperature in Indy at 50, but it's 3 degrees warmer, as you can see in Shelbyville. Okay, the storm system, the center of it is up between Green Bay and Minneapolis-St. Paul. Snow on the backside of that. We're on the mild side. Temporarily. Temperatures tomorrow, some 30 degrees colder in many spots. Between 7 and 11, we see the expansion of the rain. Early overnight, change that to some snow, which likely is melting on contact. with the warmer ground and the wet ground, but we may see half an inch or less, mainly in grassy areas. I think the roads will just need to watch because any leftover moisture from the rain, temperatures below freezing, may have some slick spots on untreated roadways, and watch out on your deck and sidewalk at home. 28, the magic number tomorrow. That's early in the day, falling in the afternoon, and just a few flurries around as well, just to confirm that it's cold.
The U.S. government is working with pharma company Merck to continue to find ways to treat COVID-19. The company has a treatment that helps patients with severe or critical COVID-19, and the hope is it can limit the long-term damage of the virus. There's a new study that says pregnant women are unlikely to pass coronavirus to their newborns. Harvard medical students studied 127 pregnant women this year. 64 women tested positive for COVID, but none of their babies did. Researchers found that the virus did not make it into the bloodstream. Well, trying to plan for life's most joyful experiences has become just another source of stress during the pandemic. Large weddings have been on hold. Couples, they remain in limbo. But as Amanda Brandeis explains, a newer wedding trend is gaining traction across the country, giving couples their happily ever after.
One of the many facts of life.
We knew that we wanted to get married from when we first started dating.
Is that life hardly ever goes as planned.
We had like a big warehouse venue picked out with like 200 guests. It was going to be a big celebration.
These are people who have planned their wedding, spent a year, maybe 2 years planning their wedding, and it's just kind of starting to crumble beneath them a little bit. Everything is being just ripped away, all these things that they'd planned.
2020 reminded us just how unpredictable life can be.
This time last year, I was booking a lot of international weddings as well as weddings across the country.
Sarah Whitaker makes her living off capturing these moments.
It's a day full of so much emotion and so much love, and being able to create kind of a story or a narrative of that day is really special.
And when the moments came to a halt, so did her livelihood.
You know, I looked kind of at a lot of my other friends who are vendors in this industry and watched their years kind of plummet, and everyone kind of struggling financially and still wanting to work.
And couples who still wanted to get married.
The uncertainty of everything, that was the most stressful part.
Whitaker wanted to help brides like Izzy Van Vliet write a new story.
You know, wouldn't it be great if we could do a COVID-friendly, small, intimate wedding, get these people married, have it be safe.
Teaming up with other vendors, she crafted an elopement package. The all-inclusive experience covers flowers, hair and makeup, video, photos, and a wedding officiant. Off the beaten path in Joshua Tree National Park.
It's not so much about who's got the biggest floral budget or the most expensive dress. It's about marrying the person you love and having those people that you love the very most being able to witness it as well.
But in true 2020 fashion, the unexpected happened yet again.
Started out today with high hopes of a beautiful day. I woke up to the wind blowing probably 40 miles an hour.
But like so many other times this year, they adapted.
As a small business owner, you really do have to adapt or die. If you can't figure out a way to roll with the punches that the world gives you, you're not going to make it. You have to figure out a way to make it work.
Neither the wind nor a global pandemic could change this part of their story.
In marriage, the little things are the big things.
We're out here in the desert. It's windy, but it's beautiful.
By the power vested in me, I now pronounce you married. You may seal your love with a kiss.
Life hardly ever goes according to plan, but embracing uncertainty can help us see the beauty of living in the moment.
Things that mean the most are always worth it.
In Joshua Tree, I'm Amanda Brandeis reporting.
Such a great moral to that story, Amanda. Thank you. And finally in our lineup today, a new proposal involving tip sharing at restaurants. It's being met with some blowback. We'll talk about some of the concerns that advocates are voicing.
Got everything else you need.
Employers may soon be able to require workers who make tips to share that money with other staff. It's part of a new regulation from the Labor Department. The agency says the rule could help increase pay for back-of-house staff. We're talking like cooks, dishwashers, who have been in the past in places excluded from tip pools. Now, the rule says that pooling is only allowed if the tipped employee makes the full federal minimum wage. Federal law allows tipped workers to make $2.13 an hour. That is, as long as they earn enough tips to match the minimum. State laws vary on that point. The rule also gets rid of a guideline that said tipped workers must spend at least 80% of their time doing tasks that earn them gratuity. The National Restaurant Association has praised this rule, calling it a win for the industry because it does clarify laws under the Fair Labor Standards Act. Now, we talked to an employment attorney who founded WaiterPay.com. Louis Peckman tells us that there may be some clarification in the rule, but that's really not the big issue here.
Tips traditionally have been viewed by management as kryptonite. Don't touch with the tips, service tips, stay away. They're my money. Now you have a whole situation where service, it's my money, the tip was left for me. Why am I paying a cook in the kitchen?
The Economic Policy Institute has estimated the rule would let employers take $700 million from tipped workers each year. That is based on numbers before the industry suffered under the pandemic. Now, as Peckman points out, some local laws are very protective of employees' tips and will supersede those federal regulations.
So it's important, if you're analyzing the issue, is there a state regulation, is there a city regulation, which gives more protection to workers than the FLSA does?
The rule is set to go into effect in 60 days. The Biden administration could still delay it and then create its own rule. Now, multiple studies have shown that masks help slow the spread of COVID-19, but there is now a problem arising as a result, specifically impacting the environment. Tomorrow, the eye-opening numbers about just how much added pollution we're dealing with.
Temperatures as we go through the weekend respond quickly to a change in wind direction. 39 Saturday, 45 on Sunday. Of course, it's what happens between now and Saturday that you'll find most interesting. We'll go through your hourly forecast, Christmas Eve day and Christmas Day coming up. That's all for this half hour.